All right, it is technically 8 o'clock on Wednesday night, and as I was getting myself ready for bed, yes, get ready before 8. I was thinking about my schedule tomorrow, and I thought, do you know what? Tomorrow's a little crazy. I'm not sure I even have time to make buttercream. So it is Wednesday night, but I'm saying good morning to you. I'm here to make chocolate buttercream with you, and it's gonna be a little bedtime snack for me because this is one of my favorites. It is so silky and smooth and so flavorful and delicious. You guys are absolutely going to love it, okay? And I've got all the tips to make sure it's nice and easy to make for you, okay? So there's a few things with your buttercream that are different than with your cake layers. So cake layers, we talked about anything coming from the fridge needs to be room temperature. That was butter, that was milk or sour cream or buttermilk or yogurt. I mean, literally anything coming from the fridge, the eggs too, need to be room temperature when they go in your cake batter. Now, for your frosting, for your buttercream, we want things to be slightly cold, especially your butter. If you start with butter that's too soft going into your buttercream, it's going to destroy the whole thing. It never really has a temperature or texture that can really hold on to the other ingredients, and it just falls off your paddles and falls off your cake, and it's kind of a disaster. It feels like it's just melting, and that's because it's too soft. So I take the butter out of the fridge about half an hour, maybe an hour during the winter to soften, so I can barely put like a fingerprint, but it's not warm. This is still cold to the touch. I'm gonna let my mixer soften it for me by mixing it for just a couple minutes, totally on its own, on medium-high speed. The other thing, I wanna do some piping with this cake. So I'm adding an extra half batch of my recipe. So when you're looking at the recipe, I'm adding an extra half batch, so I have plenty of buttercream to pipe on the top or around the sides or whatever you wanna do. If you're not gonna do any piping, then just leave the recipe as is. It's plenty to fill and to do the sides just like that. So I have got actually 3 cups of butter instead of the normal 2 cups of butter going into this buttercream. So I have mixed my butter by itself for just a couple minutes. This gets it light and fluffy. You guys know I love those terms after we made that cake batter yesterday. But truly you'll see the color lighten in this butter. But my bowl is still cold to the touch. That cold butter, slightly cold butter, is what's gonna help hold everything together so that it just spreads really nicely. But I have a couple tricks to make sure that it's really smooth and silky and easy to spread on your cake. The first one, okay, we're adding chocolate chips to this. I have 12 ounces of chocolate chips because I'm doing 1.5, and then I have a little bit over 1/4 cup heavy cream, and I made a ganache. This is an awesome tip I learned from my friend Annie, and so she said make the ganache first rather than just trying to pour the chocolate right into your cold butter. Sometimes that hardens it. We have issues, and then we get like hard pieces of chocolate. We don't want to do that. So the cream in the recipe, the chocolate in the recipe, we're gonna heat those up together and make this beautiful ganache. And now I'm gonna pour that into my butter, and then we'll talk about powdered sugar and the finishing touches. So a little bit more here. Okay, you're gonna notice too the butter gets a little bit soft. That's okay. You can always put this buttercream back into the refrigerator, and that's gonna help set the butter a little bit more so it's not so soft. Oh my goodness. Oh, it smells so good. I'm using a Guittard dark chocolate. You could also use semi-sweet. I just wouldn't use anything like a milk chocolate because you're gonna lose out on the chocolate flavor. It just starts to disappear once you add the powdered sugar, and you've got the butter in here and the cream and everything. That great chocolate flavor disappears if you use a chocolate that's too light. So trust me on that one. We'll stick with the semi-sweet, or you know me, I love, 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 love dark chocolate because you just get this awesome bittersweet chocolate flavor, and it's not too sweet. It just balances so well with the rest of the cake. All right, scraping down the sides of the bowl, and we'll keep mixing. All right, so now the chocolate, the butter, the cream, and all let's try it again. The chocolate, the butter, and the cream are all combined, and look how beautiful that looks. Now we're ready to add our powdered sugar. The key of that powdered sugar, you have to okay? Get the clumps out of the powdered sugar so that you have a nice, silky, smooth buttercream. It makes it so much easier to frost your cake with smooth sides. This is what I use to sift my powdered sugar. I've got my mesh strainer, and I can just whisk it through into a nice big bowl. Super easy that way. All right, so I'm gonna turn this on low and just start adding my powdered sugar, just a little bit by little bit, and then I'll turn this up and we will get this mixing at a high speed. KitchenAid, and let it mix for for like 3 to 5 minutes. Any buttercream, not just this chocolate one, any buttercream. After everything's incorporated, turn it up, mix it for a little while. It's gonna get light and fluffy. You'll see the colors start to lighten a little bit. So this dark chocolate goes from like this color to, let me show you already how different, our colors are. My screen's gone dark, changing, right? So that's like our dark chocolate with the cream. That's the chocolate with just the butter. And then once I add the powdered sugar and I start mixing this for a few minutes, I'm gonna let it keep going. It just lightens it up, and oh, it's the silkiest buttercream you'll ever eat. Okay, this is done mixing. That is super light in color. It actually will darken a little bit as it sits out at room temperature, or as it sits on your cake a little bit as well. So if it feels really, really light, don't worry, it will darken. I should seed it though. You guys, so good. You're gonna love it. Okay, this is ready for decorating your cake, which will be tomorrow. So I'm gonna put it in Tupperware, put it in the fridge, and then a few hours before I'm ready to decorate, I'm gonna take it out, put it at room temperature, and then I'm gonna remix it in here for a few minutes just to get it light and fluffy again. And we'll talk about some of the tips at the final stages of decorating, how to keep this really smooth and beautiful and silky, and it's gonna be amazing. So just remember, slightly cold butter, sifted powdered sugar. You always use a little heavy cream in your frosting recipes, and then mix it for 3 to 5 minutes, and you're gonna have the best buttercream of your life.